The Galactic Council's warning. The Galactic Council, an ancient and powerful alliance of alien species, sat in a grand hall that hovered silently in space. Every race in the galaxy knew the Council's name. It was a symbol of peace, power, and unity. At least for the aliens, they maintained order by balancing power between their member species. Now, however, there was one species they were growing more and more concerned about: humans. In the past, humans were seen as a relatively new and small force in the galaxy. They were curious, ambitious, and a bit reckless at times, but they were also strong and resilient. The Council watched as humanity developed quickly, growing more advanced with each passing year. It wasn't long before humans had spread their influence beyond their solar system. At first, it wasn't alarming. It was just another species expanding. But then, things began to change. Earth's technology was advancing at an incredible rate. What took other species thousands of years, humans had accomplished in a few hundred. Their ships were faster, their weapons more powerful, and their military strategy more aggressive than anything the Council had seen before. The other races began to feel uneasy, whispering among themselves. What if humans kept growing like this? What if they couldn't be controlled? The Council decided to act before it was too late. They knew they couldn't allow humanity to continue expanding unchecked. Earth had become a threat, and threats needed to be dealt with. But the Council didn't want to start a war. They preferred to send warnings first, to see if Earth would back down voluntarily. Inside the Council's vast meeting chamber, representatives of the most powerful species gathered. Tall and slender Aracrians, with their shimmering blue skin and long, delicate limbs, sat alongside bulky, armored Revelans, whose sharp eyes could pierce through any defense. They were joined by the insectoid Crixians and the towering, silent Xyroliths, who looked more like living mountains than sentient beings. The representative from the Aracrian race, whose name was Keltheri, spoke first. Her voice was calm, but underneath it was a tone of worry. We have all seen what the humans are doing. They are becoming more dangerous with every passing year. If we do not act soon, they may challenge our authority. Several of the other representatives nodded in agreement. The Crixian, a creature with twitching antennae and sharp mandibles, clicked in frustration. Humans are unpredictable, he hissed. They don't follow the same rules as the rest of us. We must show them that their behavior will not be tolerated. A deep rumble came from the Xyrolith representative. His voice was slow and heavy, like the shifting of tectonic plates. We must be cautious. Humans are not like the others. They are stubborn and do not easily bend to pressure. Keltheri nodded. That is why we must send them a message, a warning. They need to understand that they are playing with forces far greater than their own. If they continue down this path, they will provoke a response they are not prepared for. The Council agreed on a plan. They would send a message to Earth's leaders, a formal warning from the most powerful beings in the galaxy. The message would remind humans of their place, a smaller species in a vast, interconnected galaxy. The Council hoped that the humans would listen and back down. They hoped to avoid conflict. But deep down, many of them doubted it would work. They had studied humans for a long time now. They knew humanity's history, filled with wars, revolutions, and relentless expansion. Backing down was not in their nature. Still, the Council believed it was better to try diplomacy first. Keltheri composed the message herself. It was direct, clear, and unmistakable. To the leaders of Earth, it began, "You are hereby warned by the Galactic Council. Your rapid expansion and accumulation of military power have not gone unnoticed. If you continue to build your forces and spread beyond your borders, you will face consequences. The Council does not wish for violence, but we will not hesitate to act if provoked. Be wise and reconsider your path." The message was sent to Earth, and the Council waited for a response. Days passed, then weeks, with no reply from humanity. The silence was unsettling. The Council grew restless. What were the humans planning? Finally, a message from Earth arrived. The Council's representatives gathered in anticipation, eager to see what Earth's response would be. But when they read it, confusion spread through the room. The message was short, almost too short for such a serious warning. Earth's response simply read, "Thank you for your concern. We assure you everything is under control." The Galactic Council was baffled. Was this arrogance, ignorance, or something else? The humans had brushed aside their warning as if it meant nothing. The council members exchanged uneasy glances. Earth wasn't backing down. In fact, it seemed like they weren't taking the council seriously at all. Kelferi leaned back in her seat, her eyes narrowing. "They don't understand the seriousness of the situation," she said quietly. "Or maybe they do. And they simply don't care." The council's warning had been issued, but humanity's response left them more concerned than before. Earth was preparing for something, and whatever it was, the council feared it was going to be much bigger than they could imagine. Earth's unstoppable response. Earth had received the Galactic Council's warning, but instead of fear, a sense of determination swept across the planet. The message from the council might have been intended to intimidate, but to humanity, it was nothing more than another challenge. And humans didn't shy away from challenges. They embraced them. The world's leaders gathered in a high-security meeting room deep beneath the surface of Earth. Surrounding them were holographic projections of the galaxy, strategic maps, and live feeds from their most powerful military bases. The President of Earth, a sharp and calculating woman named Sarah Mitchell, stood at the head of the table. Her eyes were fierce, and her voice carried the authority of someone who had led Earth through countless crises. "The Galactic Council thinks they can scare us into submission," she began, her voice calm but filled with resolve. "But we're not going to bow down to anyone. We've built our strength for moments like this, and if they want to see what we're capable of, then we'll show them." Around the table, military leaders, scientists, and government officials nodded in agreement. They knew Earth's military had grown exponentially over the years. Humanity had long since left behind the days of being a small, insignificant species. Now they were a force to be reckoned with, a species that could challenge even the oldest and most powerful civilizations in the galaxy. General Marcus Reed, the head of Earth's Space Defense Force, spoke up. He was a seasoned veteran, with decades of experience leading Earth's forces in skirmishes against pirate fleets and rogue alien factions. "Madam President, our fleet is ready. We have more firepower now than ever before. If the Galactic Council thinks they can push us around, they're in for a rude awakening." President Mitchell nodded. "I want a full display of our power. Send out the Alpha Fleet. Let them see what we've been working on. And make sure they understand. We're not just playing defense anymore. If they try to test us, we'll respond with force they've never seen before." Earth's Alpha Fleet was no ordinary fleet. It was a massive, cutting-edge armada of warships, armed with the most advanced weapons humanity had ever created. Each ship was designed for one purpose: overwhelming firepower. Humanity had mastered technologies that allowed them to equip their ships with weapons capable of devastating entire planets, and they weren't shy about using them if provoked. The flagship of the Alpha Fleet was the Titan, a behemoth of a warship that dwarfed even the largest vessels of other species. The Titan was more than just a symbol of Earth's strength. It was a reminder that humanity had learned from centuries of conflict and had no intention of being outmatched again. As the Alpha Fleet prepared to depart, the mood among the crew was confident, almost relaxed. The Galactic Council's warning was little more than an annoyance to them. They had trained for moments like this their entire lives, and now they were ready to prove why Earth's military was a force to be feared. Captain Alex Cortez stood on the bridge of the Titan, overseeing the final preparations. He had led Earth's fleets through some of the most intense battles in recent history, and he knew that what was about to come would be no different. But there was something about the Council's arrogance that irritated him. They thought humanity was still a weak, naive species. Cortez was determined to prove them wrong. "Captain," one of the officers called out, "all systems are ready." The fleet is prepared for departure. Cortez nodded. Good. Set course for the outer rim. Let's give the Council something to think about. The fleet launched into the darkness of space, engines roaring as the ships sliced through the void. They moved with precision and speed, the coordinated effort of thousands of crew members working in perfect harmony. As they traveled, the officers monitored communications from other alien species in the galaxy. Word of the Galactic Council's warning had spread quickly, and many smaller species were watching with bated breath to see how humanity would respond. They didn't have to wait long. The Alpha Fleet arrived at the edge of the Outer Rim, a region of space where the Galactic Council had stationed a few monitoring ships. These ships were meant to observe Earth's actions and report back to the Council, but they were in no way prepared for what they saw. The fleet emerged from hyperspace with the Titan at the front, its massive form casting a shadow over the smaller alien vessels. The sheer size of the fleet was overwhelming. Dozens of heavily armed ships filled the sky, their weapon systems glowing with barely contained energy. The alien monitors had seen Earth's forces before, but nothing on this scale. It was as if Earth had brought every weapon they had, far more than necessary for a simple show of strength. One of the alien commanders on a monitoring ship could only stare in disbelief. This is overkill," he muttered to his crew. Why would they bring so many ships for a simple response? But that was exactly Earth's strategy. Humanity didn't believe in half measures anymore. They wanted to make a statement that couldn't be ignored. They wanted the Galactic Council to know that Earth was no longer just a member of the galaxy. They were a power in their own right, capable of matching any fleet, any army, anywhere. Captain Cortez opened a channel to the Council's ships. His voice was steady, but carried an unmistakable edge of warning. "This is Captain Cortez of Earth's Alpha Fleet. We've received your message. Consider this our response. If you threaten Earth again, you'll be facing more than just a fleet. You'll be facing the full might of humanity." The message was clear. Earth wasn't backing down. And if the Galactic Council pushed any further, they would soon discover just how far humanity was willing to go to defend itself. The Council's shock. Back at the Galactic Council, tension was rising. Reports had begun flooding in from the monitoring ships stationed at the Outer Rim. The representatives from various species gathered again in the Council chamber, their expressions grim. They had expected a response from Earth, but what they hadn't expected was the sheer scale of it. The Aracrian representative, Keltheri, stood in the middle of the chamber, reading out the latest report from their monitoring ship. Her voice, usually calm and composed, now trembled slightly with disbelief. "The humans have deployed a fleet far larger than anticipated. Our observers describe it as excessive, overwhelming. Their flagship, the Titan, alone could outclass most of our fleets." Gasps echoed through the chamber. Many of the representatives exchanged worried glances. The Council had always known that humanity was growing stronger, but they had never imagined this. The word overkill was being whispered among them, and for good reason. Keltheri continued, her voice now laced with concern. "They are not just responding to our warning. They are showing us their full military might. It's as if they are daring us to make a move. Their ships, the power we've seen in the Alpha Fleet alone is enough to cause alarm. The question is, what do we do next?" The representative from the insectoid Crixians, known for their cold and calculating nature, was the first to speak up. His mandibles clicked together nervously. "This was not expected. We thought the humans would hesitate, show caution. Instead, they've shown us that they are ready for war. We cannot let this stand. If we do nothing, they will only grow bolder." A low hum came from the Xyrolith representative, his voice slow but powerful. "But can we afford to escalate? Humans are unpredictable. If we engage them now, we may be stepping into a conflict we cannot control." The chamber erupted into debate. Some members of the Council wanted to act quickly, to respond with force before Earth's power grew beyond control. Others urged caution, fearing that any action against the humans could ignite a war that would consume the galaxy. The Council had faced powerful species before, but something about the humans unsettled them. It wasn't just their technology. It was their defiance, their refusal to bend to the will of the Council. The Revelin representative, a large and imposing figure clad in heavy armor, slammed his fist onto the table, silencing the chamber. "Enough," he bellowed. "We cannot let these humans think they are untouchable. We are the Galactic Council. We have ruled this galaxy for thousands of years. If Earth wants to challenge us, then we must show them that we are not to be trifled with." But Keltheri shook her head, her expression somber. "We must be careful. The humans are not like other species we have faced. They are relentless. They do not back down, even when the odds are against them. And now, they are showing us that they are prepared to take this conflict to its extreme. If we provoke them further, we may find ourselves in a war we cannot win." The council chamber fell silent. Keltheri's words echoed in the minds of the representatives. Deep down, they knew she was right. Humanity's rise had been faster and more aggressive than anyone had anticipated. And now, faced with the full display of Earth's military might, the Council had to decide whether to continue pushing the humans or to find a way to avoid conflict. After a long pause, the Xyrolith representative spoke again, his deep voice filled with thoughtfulness. "Perhaps we have underestimated the humans. Their response to our warning was not just a show of strength, it was a message. They are not afraid of us. If we wish to avoid bloodshed, we must change our approach." The Crixian representative clicked in frustration. "And what would you suggest?" "Appeasement. Letting them do whatever they want." "No," the Xyrolith rumbled. "But we must approach them differently. If we show them respect, perhaps they will respond in kind. We must find a way to coexist with them, rather than force them into a corner." The council members murmured in agreement, though many still looked uneasy. The idea of negotiating with the humans, rather than subduing them, was a difficult one for many to accept. But the reality was becoming clearer with each passing moment. Earth's power was no longer something that could be ignored or underestimated. Keltheri, sensing the shift in the room, nodded thoughtfully. "Perhaps it is time for a new strategy. We will reach out to the humans again, not with threats, but with an offer of dialogue. We must show them that we are not their enemies, but rather allies who seek to maintain peace in the galaxy." The decision was made. The Council would extend a new message to Earth, this time offering negotiations instead of ultimatums. They would seek to understand humanity's goals and find a way to work together, rather than against each other. But as the meeting came to a close and the representatives filed out of the chamber, there was still a sense of unease hanging in the air. The Council had taken a different path, but no one knew if it would be enough. Humanity had already shown they were willing to go to extremes to protect their place in the galaxy. The question remained, would Earth be open to negotiation, or had the Council already pushed them too far? Humanity's relentless progress. As the Galactic Council awaited a response to their offer of negotiation, Earth remained busy. While the Council pondered over diplomacy, humanity continued to push forward at an astonishing pace. On Earth, a new wave of innovation swept across its scientific and military communities. The warning from the Council had only motivated humans to accelerate their preparations. Deep within a massive research facility buried under the icy surface of Antarctica, Earth's top scientists were hard at work. The facility, known as Arcadia Station, was Earth's most secretive and advanced technological hub. Here, hidden from prying eyes, the brightest minds were designing weapons, ships, and defense systems that would ensure humanity's dominance for generations to come. Dr. Evelyn Carter, a leading scientist in advanced weaponry, stood in front of a massive holographic display that showed the design of Earth's newest and most devastating weapon, a super weapon known as Hades' Wrath. This wasn't just a weapon meant to win battles. It was designed to end wars before they even started. She turned to her team, a diverse group of engineers and physicists, and nodded with satisfaction. "We're on schedule. The Hades system will be fully operational in a matter of months. When it's ready, no one in the galaxy will dare challenge us. Next to her, Commander Nathaniel Gray, a decorated military strategist overseeing the project's military application, crossed his arms. The Council won't know what hit them. They may think they can negotiate, but if they make one wrong move, they'll be facing an armament unlike anything they've ever seen. Arcadia Station was buzzing with activity. Engineers worked tirelessly to finalize the construction of Earth's new warships, each one equipped with cutting-edge stealth technology and the most advanced AI systems in the galaxy. These ships, smaller than the massive dreadnoughts like the Titan, were designed for quick, surgical strikes, capable of eliminating threats before they even knew what hit them. Humanity wasn't satisfied with just showing off its existing power. It was determined to become unstoppable. Earth's leaders knew that the Council's offer of negotiation could be a ploy, a temporary measure to buy time. And so, while the politicians prepared for talks, the military and scientific communities prepared for war. The idea was simple: make peace, but be ready to obliterate anyone who threatened Earth's future. In orbit above the Earth, thousands of satellites silently monitored every corner of space. These weren't just any satellites. They were part of Earth's newest defense grid, a sprawling network of laser-equipped stations capable of targeting and neutralizing enemy ships from light years away. Every inch of Earth's airspace, from the surface to the outer edges of the solar system, was under constant surveillance. Nothing would escape their watchful eyes. Meanwhile, on the surface, training camps across the planet were in full swing. New recruits were being trained harder than ever before. They were pushed to their limits, knowing that if diplomacy failed, they would be the ones standing on the front lines. Captain Maria Ruiz, a seasoned officer and veteran of Earth's conflicts with rogue alien factions, oversaw one of the largest training facilities in the world. She was tough, relentless, and driven by the belief that Earth's soldiers had to be the best. "All right, listen up," she barked at the group of recruits standing at attention before her. "The Galactic Council thinks they can intimidate us, but they're wrong. If negotiations fall apart, we will be the ones standing between Earth and them. And let me tell you this, failure is not an option." The recruits snapped to attention, their faces grim with determination. They knew that they were not just fighting for Earth, but for humanity's future in the galaxy. Be prepared for anything. As Earth's preparations continued, a sense of quiet anticipation settled over the planet. The average citizen knew little of the Council's warning or the scale of Earth's response. But beneath the surface, in military bunkers, research facilities, and training camps, the full weight of humanity's resolve was being forged. While Earth's leaders prepared for negotiations, there was an unspoken understanding that they might never happen. If the Council made the mistake of underestimating humanity again, Earth would not hesitate to unleash the full force of its military. Diplomacy might still be on the table, but war was always a possibility, and humanity was ready for it. The Council's offer of peace was met with cautious consideration on Earth. Messages were exchanged back and forth, with diplomats on both sides working tirelessly to find common ground. But as the days turned into weeks, it became clear that Earth's military wouldn't be standing down anytime soon. In the heart of Arcadia Station, Dr. Carter and her team continued to push the boundaries of science and technology, racing against the clock. Every day brought new breakthroughs, new advancements that made Earth's forces even more powerful. And all the while, the Hades Wrath weapon system drew closer to completion, a shadow hanging over the galaxy. The Galactic Council believed they had seen humanity's power with the display of the Alpha Fleet, but that was only a fraction of what Earth had in store. Humanity's relentless progress continued, and soon the Council would realize the true extent of what Earth was capable of. Diplomacy might delay the inevitable, but in the end, Earth-world negotiations begin, but tensions rise. As Earth's military preparations continued behind the scenes, the day of the long-awaited negotiations finally arrived. Diplomatic ships from the Galactic Council descended upon Earth, their gleaming forms reflecting the light of the sun as they entered Earth's atmosphere. The representatives were nervous. Humanity's overwhelming display of force had unsettled even the most confident among them. The Council had always believed itself to be the supreme authority in the galaxy. They had subjugated countless species, using their influence to maintain peace through fear and control. But the humans had shattered that illusion. The Council's negotiators knew they had to tread carefully. A misstep here could lead to war. The meeting took place at Earth's most secure location, the Solar Citadel. The Citadel, a towering fortress built into the side of a mountain, overlooked a vast, icy tundra. It was a symbol of humanity's resilience and strength, standing as a silent guardian over the planet. Armed guards lined the perimeter, their faces hidden behind helmets equipped with the latest in combat technology. Inside the Citadel's grand chamber, representatives from the Galactic Council sat across from Earth's diplomats. The tension in the room was palpable. On one side sat Keltheri, the Aracrian representative, her insectoid features betraying her unease. Beside her were the Crixian and Xyrolith representatives, both of whom were equally cautious. On the other side, humanity's top diplomats and military leaders were present, including General Nathaniel Gray and Earth's chief diplomat, Ambassador Sarah Conway. Ambassador Conway, a tall woman with sharp features and piercing blue eyes, opened the proceedings. "We welcome the Galactic Council to Earth," she began, her voice calm but firm. "We hope that today's discussions will lead to a peaceful resolution." Keltheri cleared her throat, her mandibles twitching nervously. "Earth's response to our initial warning was unexpected. The scale of your military readiness is concerning to the Council. We are here to ensure that this escalation does not lead to unnecessary conflict." General Gray leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. "Let me be clear," he said, his voice a low growl. "Earth's military preparations are not an escalation. They are a response to the threat your Council posed. We are simply ensuring that we are not caught off guard." Keltheri shifted uncomfortably. The Council had no intention of provoking war. The warning was meant to maintain balance and prevent the rise of a power that could destabilize the galaxy. Ambassador Conway interjected, her tone sharp but measured. "Earth has no intention of destabilizing the galaxy, but we will not be treated as lesser beings. Humanity has earned its place among the stars, and we will defend that place if necessary." The Xyrolith representative, who had been silent until now, spoke in his deep, rumbling voice. "There must be a way forward. We do not wish to see the galaxy torn apart by war. Surely there is room for compromise." The room fell silent for a moment as both sides considered their options. The Council's representatives knew they had little leverage. Earth's military capabilities were now on full display, and any attempt to challenge them directly would likely end in disaster. But the Council also couldn't afford to lose face. They needed to find a way to save face while preventing further escalation. Ambassador Conway seized the moment. "We are open to negotiations, but there must be mutual respect. The days of the Council dictating terms to Earth are over. If you wish for peace, we must work as equals." The Crixian representative's mandibles clicked nervously. Equals. The Council has maintained order in the galaxy for thousands of years. We cannot simply. General Gray cut him off. "Order? Your order has kept countless species under your thumb, including humanity. We won't be subjected to that again." Keltheri raised a hand to calm the Crixian representative. "Perhaps the ambassador is right. The galaxy is changing, and we must change with it. The Council must recognize Earth's newfound strength and the potential for cooperation. Perhaps a new alliance can be formed, one based on mutual benefit." Ambassador Conway nodded slowly, sensing an opportunity. "That is what we hope for. Humanity has much to offer the galaxy, but we will not be forced into submission. If the Council can accept that, then we can build something better together." The negotiations continued for hours, with both sides making cautious progress. The Council representatives slowly began to realize that Earth was not interested in galactic domination or conquest. Rather, humanity simply demanded to be treated with the same respect that other major powers received. Earth was willing to cooperate, but only as an equal partner. As the day wore on, tentative agreements were reached. The Council would officially recognize Earth as a sovereign power, with the right to maintain its military forces as a deterrent rather than a threat. In return, Earth would work alongside the Council to maintain peace and stability in the galaxy, helping to resolve conflicts and protect weaker species from exploitation. But while the negotiations seemed to be heading in a positive direction, there was still an undercurrent of unease. The Council had been forced to acknowledge Earth's power, but many of the representatives remained wary. Humanity's rapid rise had shaken the foundations of the galactic order, and no one knew for sure how long this fragile peace would last. As the Council representatives left the solar citadel that evening, they couldn't shake the feeling that the balance of power in the galaxy had shifted permanently. Earth had emerged as a new force to be reckoned with, and the Council would have to adjust to this new reality. Back on Earth, Ambassador Conway and General Gray watched the Council ships depart from the Citadel's observation deck. "Do you think this peace will hold?" Conway asked quietly. Gray's expression was unreadable as he stared at the departing ships. "For now," he said, "but we need to stay prepared. The Council won't forget what happened here today, and neither should we." As the ships disappeared into the horizon, one thing was clear. Humanity had secured its place in the galaxy, but whether that place would be one of peace or conflict remained to be seen. The calm before the storm. With negotiations seemingly settled, a fragile peace now hung over the galaxy. The Galactic Council had recognized Earth's sovereignty and accepted that humanity was no longer a species they could control or intimidate. Earth had achieved its goal, respect and recognition. But behind the scenes, tensions were still simmering. In the months following the talks, the atmosphere on Earth was one of cautious optimism. The media celebrated the diplomatic victory, lauding the political leaders for securing peace and ensuring that Earth's interests would be protected. People went about their lives, hopeful that the worst was behind them. But within the halls of power, a different narrative was playing out. In a high-security briefing room deep within Arcadia Station, General Nathaniel Gray met with top military and scientific advisors. Dr. Evelyn Carter was present, along with Colonel Maria Ruiz, the veteran officer overseeing Earth's elite forces. Though the public celebrated peace, these key figures were preparing for what they believed to be the inevitable. The Council's acceptance of Earth's power was a strategic move, General Gray said, his voice low and serious. "They didn't come here to make friends. They came to buy time." Dr. Carter nodded in agreement. "I've been analyzing recent intel. The Council's fleet movements have increased significantly since the negotiations. They're fortifying their borders, especially near the fringe systems. It's only a matter of time before they try something." Colonel Ruiz folded her arms, her face grim. "I've seen this play out before. The Council won't strike openly. They'll test us first, probe our defenses, look for weaknesses. When they think they found an opening, they'll strike hard." General Gray tapped a few buttons on the holographic display in front of him, bringing up a map of the galaxy. Red markers appeared across the screen, highlighting suspected Council movements and known military outposts. "We've already deployed reconnaissance teams to monitor the border regions. So far, no direct threats, but we need to stay one step ahead." Dr. Carter leaned forward, her eyes narrowing as she examined the map. "The Hades Wrath system is almost complete. Once it's operational, we'll have a significant strategic advantage. But until then, we need to ensure that every defense system we have is fully functional and ready to deploy at a moment's notice." The discussion continued for hours as the group reviewed Earth's defensive plans and contingency strategies. Despite the Council's diplomatic gestures, Earth's leadership knew that peace could break at any moment. They were not naive enough to believe that the Council had simply backed down. In fact, they suspected that the Council was already planning its next move. Meanwhile, far from the tense meetings and war planning, life on Earth continued as usual. But the sense of unease was palpable for those who paid attention to the undercurrents of the political landscape. News outlets, while reporting on Earth's victory in negotiations, also covered stories of increased military activity in space. Civilian ships were being escorted by warships, and rumors circulated about strange sightings along the galactic borders. In one of Earth's many spaceports, Captain Leela James stood aboard her ship, the Orion Spear, watching as cargo and supplies were loaded. Her vessel, a sleek frigate equipped with the latest in human engineering, was one of many ships tasked with patrolling the borders. Leela had served in Earth's military for over a decade and had seen her fair share of battles, but she couldn't shake the feeling that something was brewing. Captain, her first officer, Lieutenant Harris, approached her. "We've received new orders from command. They want us to increase patrols near the Delta Quadrant. Some unusual activity has been reported." Leela sighed and nodded. "Delta Quadrant, huh? That's near Council territory. Looks like the peace is as shaky as we thought." The Orion Spear and ships like it were Earth's first line of defense. They patrolled the far reaches of space, ready to respond to any threat that might arise. For the crews aboard these ships, life was a constant state of readiness, knowing that at any moment, the calm could be shattered by an enemy attack. Back on Earth, in the Solar Citadel, Ambassador Sarah Conway was also feeling the pressure. As the chief diplomat in the negotiations with the Galactic Council, she had been hailed as a hero for securing peace, but she wasn't convinced that peace would last. Every day, she received reports from Earth's intelligence agencies, detailing suspicious activities and subtle shifts in Council behavior. One evening, as she sat in her office reviewing the latest briefings, she received an encrypted message from one of her contacts within the Council. It was short but troubling. "The Council is not united. Factions are forming. Some want peace, but others are preparing for war." Ambassador Conway leaned back in her chair, her mind racing. The Council's fractured state meant that anything could happen. One wrong move from either side could spark a conflict that would engulf the entire galaxy. She knew she had to tread carefully, but she also knew that Earth couldn't afford to be caught off guard. The calm that had settled over the galaxy after the negotiations was deceptive. Beneath the surface, the gears of war were turning. Earth continued to prepare, fortifying its defenses and pushing its technological advancements to the limit. The Hades Wrath system was nearing completion, and when it was ready, humanity would possess a weapon capable of devastating any fleet that dared challenge them. But even with their advanced weapons and powerful fleets, Earth's leaders knew that the galaxy was a dangerous place. They could only hope that when the storm finally broke, they would be ready. As the days passed, the tension in the air grew thicker. The Galactic Council, divided and uncertain, was watching Earth closely. And on Earth, in secret bases and military command centers, preparations continued for a war that everyone hoped would never come, but that everyone knew might be inevitable. The calm before the storm was fleeting, and soon the galaxy would see whether the peace would hold or whether the fires of war would consume them all. Unleashing Overkill. The calm in the galaxy shattered abruptly. What began as a series of small skirmishes along the border of Earth's territory quickly escalated into full-scale conflict. The Galactic Council, emboldened by factions that believed humanity was still weak despite its recent technological strides, launched coordinated attacks against Earth's fringe colonies. Earth's response was swift and decisive. This time, the gloves were off. The plan that General Gray and his team had meticulously crafted was set into motion. The activation of the Hades Wrath system marked a turning point in the conflict. Inside the Solar Citadel's war room, General Nathaniel Gray stood before a vast holographic display of the galaxy. The red dots representing the Council's forces outnumbered Earth's ships 5-1, but Gray wasn't worried. He knew Earth had something far more dangerous in its arsenal now. Beside him, Colonel Maria Ruiz and Dr. Evelyn Carter monitored the real-time updates from the battlefield. All eyes were on the screens as the Council's fleet moved closer to one of Earth's key strongholds, Omega Station, a vital hub located at the edge of human space. "We're ready, General," Dr. Carter said, her voice steady but laced with tension. General Gray gave a single nod. "Begin Operation Overkill." Across the galaxy, in the dark, silent reaches of space, the Hades Wrath system came online. It was the most advanced and deadly superweapon humanity had ever created. A network of automated platforms equipped with planet-shattering capabilities, built to ensure that no enemy could ever threaten Earth's homeworld or its colonies again. It was humanity's ultimate deterrent. The Council forces, unaware of the true scope of Earth's defense systems, continued their approach toward Omega Station. The lead ships of the Council's fleet were massive, city-sized warships bristling with weapons, crewed by thousands of soldiers from various alien species. They were confident that no human force could stand against them. But they had not accounted for Hades' wrath. From deep space, hidden in the void, the first shot fired. A blinding lance of energy shot across the galaxy, striking the lead warship of the Council's fleet. The energy beams sliced through its shields as if they were paper, obliterating the ship in an instant. A massive explosion followed, sending shockwaves across the battlefield. Chaos erupted within the Council's ranks as their ships scrambled to respond. But Earth's forces were ready. The Orion Spear, captained by Leela James, led a group of human warships in a counterattack, taking advantage of the confusion. Her ship danced through the void, dodging incoming fire and unleashing volleys of missiles at the Council fleet. "Target locked," Leela's weapons officer reported. "Firing now." A barrage of missiles streaked through space, slamming into another Council warship. The explosions lit up the dark expanse, and the ship broke apart, debris scattering in all directions. Back at Omega Station, Earth's defense platforms sprang to life. Automated turrets and advanced shielding systems activated, turning the station into an impenetrable fortress. The Council ships that had come too close found themselves under relentless assault. "Status report," General Gray asked, his gaze never leaving the holographic display. Dr. Carter smiled. "Hades' Wrath is performing perfectly. The Council's forces are in full retreat. Despite the devastating display of power, Earth's military leaders remained cautious. They knew the Council wouldn't give up easily. This was just the beginning. The Council would regroup, re-strategize, and come back with even greater force. But Earth wasn't done either. With Hades' Wrath active, humanity had ensured that any attack on its worlds would be met with overwhelming and brutal retaliation. Earth had taken the concept of overkill to new heights. They would not be underestimated again. Across the galaxy, news of the Council's defeat spread like wildfire. The other species, who had watched from the sidelines, now realized that humanity had become a force to be reckoned with. The balance of power in the galaxy was shifting, and Earth stood at the center of it all. On the bridge of the Orion Spear, Captain Leela James watched as the Council ships retreated into the depths of space. Her crew cheered, but Leela remained focused, knowing that this was not the end. "Send a message to command," she ordered. "The Council's been pushed back, but they'll be back. We need to stay sharp." As the message was relayed, back on Earth, General Gray and his team began planning their next move. They knew that the Galactic Council would return, and when they did, Earth would be ready. The war was far from over, but humanity had shown its hand. It was no longer a fragile, vulnerable planet on the edge of the galaxy. Earth had power now, and it wasn't afraid to use it. Overkill had become the new standard for survival, and the galaxy had been put on notice. In the days that followed, Earth's leaders continued to prepare for the inevitable escalation. Diplomatic channels were maintained, but trust was in short supply. Humanity's enemies would come again, but when they did, Earth would be waiting, ready to unleash its fury once more. The era of Earth's dominance had begun. The galaxy would never be the same.